Good morning. Actually, it's 4 p.m., so I guess good afternoon. Today I woke up with the full face of makeup, my bare face. Absolutely no makeup. I did what I usually do every morning, changed into something so casual, so comfortable. Poured myself a nice glass of super organic, freshly squeezed grape juice from my farm. This is not even grape juice. I was feeling a little lazy today, so I decided to skip doing makeup completely and just stare out my $1 million apartment view. And that's okay. We all have those days. We're human. Today I was craving a homemade sweet treat. Before we start, I put on my favorite apron that was imported straight from Europe. As you can see, it was made stitch by stitch with love. Today I thought I would make homemade chocolate from scratch. Oh shit. Wow. Another box of instant chocolate. Oh no. What a shame. Hello everybody. First, welcome back to my channel. I feel like I never say welcome back to my channel, but welcome back to my channel. For those of you guys who have been watching me, I know that I said I was going to try and post every week in July, but some things have happened. Well, not some things, a thing happened. So I toppled down a flight of stairs. I don't know if you guys can see clearly. My lip and chin is busted, and if you look here, my knees are quite busted as well. I don't have like the clearest memory of what happened, but I remember hearing myself going like, ah! It was pretty bad the past week, so I couldn't bring myself to pull out the camera because I just looked a little heinous, a little horrendous. I didn't want to pull out the camera and be like, day 1 of recovery, day 5 of recovery, my bruises are getting darker. I didn't want to have to put you guys through that. So I waited for me to recover a bit, and now I am back with another chit chat video. And if you guys haven't seen my last chit chat video, I made chocolate, but that one was chocolate mushrooms. This time is chocolate alphabets. It says love. So the topic we are talking about today, first let's open this up. Wow, it's the exact same thing as last time. But the topic we're going to talk about today, as you guys saw from the title, is why living an ordinary life is better than being a quote-unquote it girl, it boy, and why I guess being ordinary is actually the extraordinary. Like last time, I'm going to bring a bowl of hot water just so we can melt the chocolates before piping it into the mold. Wait! We're going to plop these into hot water and let these sit for a bit while the chocolate inside melts. I think I'm in a phase of my life where I'm really starting to explore every thought that I have. Not that I wasn't like an overthinker beforehand. I did have a lot of thoughts, but those thoughts were more feelings. I had big feelings, but I could never translate them into coherent thoughts. So if I'm feeling sad or anxious about something, I feel sadness and anxiety, but I couldn't really say, I am sad because X, Y, and Z. I am anxious because of X, Y, and Z. So these days I have been really exploring my feelings, my ideas, my thoughts, and seeing what feels right to me as a person. As in like morals, ethics, my boundaries, what I like, what I dislike. And for some people, I feel like it does come pretty naturally. They know I like apples over oranges. I like the number 4 over the number 7. But I think I lived a lot of my life pretty passively because I tried to cater to a lot of people when I was younger. I am a recovering people pleaser, so I never really had time to discover who I am as a person and figure out what I like and dislike. It was more like, oh, I feel a little uncomfortable with this, but it never translated into, no, I don't want this to be a part of my life. And the reason why I added the terminology it girl and it boy, they sort of set the standard of what is right and what is wrong, what is cool and what isn't, because I have the tendency to see everything 50-50. I don't think there is a right or wrong way to live. And I know some people might have second thoughts on this, but first, let's get to chocolating. Wait, my lip hurts. So the first idea I started exploring is my thoughts with human connection. One thing that has been quite solidified into my mind is the idea that two things can exist at once. You can have your own school of thought, but completely understand where another person is coming from. In the mold, it's just a bunch of letters, and then there's one number 9. What's the point of that? I think society really portrays human connection. It has to be either black or white, this or that. Human connections, I believe, is very nuanced and it's a lot more complicated than what social media portrays. So for instance, a lot of you guys might have heard of this, but the I hate men or every woman is a gold digger statement. I personally have a huge issue with that because not every man is inherently bad and not every woman is inherently a gold digger. I think by saying that, it's quite dangerous because you're generalizing a whole group of people. And two, you're not giving credit to where it's old. There are good men out there and there are good women out there. It's just at the end of the day, just being a decent human being. With that being said, if you are someone who has strong beliefs on a certain topic, you don't have to go out of your way to try and knock down everyone else's point of view. I think people have the capability to have an adult conversation, a mature conversation on things they disagree with. And at the end of the day, if you guys don't agree on a certain topic, then fine. That's where it ends. That's where you choose, I don't want to associate myself with this type of person. The next point that I have is choosing who you associate yourself with is so important. A friend that I made recently, we talk about this every time and she constantly reminds me how important it is to associate yourself with good people. People who are like-minded, people who want you to succeed, people who want you to grow. But for instance, let's say you're in a group where people make jokes about your appearances and that's how your entire friend group makes jokes. Oh my god, you gained weight, or oh my god, you have all those pimples on your face. I personally cannot be in a group like that, but for some people that works. That's just the way they communicate and that's just the way that they get along with their friends. But I know that I would not get along with people like that, so I choose not to associate myself with people like that. And this is something that my therapist told me. She said you have to be selfish about yourself. And then I asked her, if I'm picking myself every single time, what about the times when I'm actually wrong? And she said that's the thing. You have to be able to decipher when you are wrong and when you are right. You have to pick and choose your battles. It's like, you know what, in this situation, now that I think about it, I think you're right. You have to be able to acknowledge when you are wrong as well. But the thing that makes this so tricky is you have to be able to have compassion for people who are just not in the same playing field as you. And I've recently distanced myself with people that I considered myself close with before because I realized our morals didn't align. And more than the loyalty system, like I've been friends with this person for X amount of years, like 15 years. At one point, if that person is not growing with you as a person, you guys aren't bringing out the best in each other, is that friendship worth keeping or having? Ooh, can you guys see the letters? They gave us a pack of biscuits. We're going to stick the biscuits into the chocolate and then put it into the freezer to set. And then the best part is, these biscuits taste terrible. You get to eat the leftover biscuits on your own free will. But while we're on the topic of human connection, another specific topic that I delve deeper into is the concept of friendship. Let's put this in the freezer first. More than my personal thoughts on this, I want to share a personal experience. With friendships, I struggle to find trust with people unless I felt some sort of intensity with them. Actually, not some intensity, unless I felt immense intensity. And so what I mean by that is I was constantly looking for someone who was as broken, quote unquote broken as me, people with a lot of trauma, with a lot of baggage, because that was the only way that I felt like I could be understood by someone, and I thought that was the only way I could form a genuine connection. But the only thing that leads to is trauma bonding and codependency. And those are the two things that you do not want in a relationship, especially when you're trying to sustain a healthy long-term relationship with new friends, new people. And also, you can only talk about trauma for so long. I think in a healthy relationship, not every conversation revolves around trauma or boy issues, family issues, childhood issues 24/7. I think being able to talk about it with someone you trust is healing in itself, but just to have the capability to have a normal conversation, like sending a reel, sending a meme saying, oh, this made me think of you, is what a healthy relationship is. Being able to balance having heavy conversations versus light, fun moments. With all my past friendships, I constantly put myself in this loop where I show up with so much intensity, I show up with 200%. And as time goes, as I said, it's not possible for someone to constantly show up with 200%. When I reflect on my actions, I feel like the only reason I did that is because I wasn't shown consistency when I was younger. So I thought if I showed up with 200% in the beginning, I have to maintain that 200%. I didn't want others to feel like I was being inconsistent with them. Like I give 200% one day, I thought it was unfair for the other person if I just gave like 80% the next day. So I kept giving 200%, and at one point, as I said, I got burnt out. But I wouldn't be talking about this unless I realize something. In my head now, I'm able to decipher when things are moving too fast or the intensity is a little bit too high at the starting point. The issue that I have now is communicating that with the other person because I'm afraid that I might be too much, my thought might get rejected, I might lose the person, the fear of abandonment. So I talked about this with my therapist. This might not sound like groundbreaking news. I don't know if it's because she's the one who told me and I take everything that she says very seriously. She said that real intimacy, and intimacy doesn't just belong in romantic relationships, it belongs in every human connection that we have. Real intimacy in a relationship is built when you're able to speak about things you aren't comfortable. So this one girlfriend that I have made recently, it's something that I'm trying out with her. I've recently sort of disappeared because I was feeling very overwhelmed, but I got on a phone call with her. She was so understanding, she was so sweet, but I wanted to just keep myself accountable because me disappearing, I could have just left one message saying, hey, I'm going to be MIA for a bit, don't worry about me. What I did was I disappeared. She was worried, but she understood where I was, thankfully. But not everyone is going to understand your situation or what's going on in your head unless you communicate it to them. So it was the first time in my life where I was able to tell a new friend that there are times when I feel very overwhelmed and scared and I disappear, but I really care about this friendship and I want to be able to communicate these things with you even if it feels uncomfortable for me. As the sweet angel baby she is, she just accepted me with open arms and then we just started talking about other things. She took what I said seriously and genuinely. She gave me a heartfelt response. She didn't punish me for my actions. She understood. She showed up with compassion. And then we moved on after reaching an understanding. And from that, I branch off to the thought of people can exist in your life for different needs. Before, I would want one person to fulfill all my needs. I think at this point now, I feel like that might be a little selfish. Like you can't expect someone who's like super analytical, solution-based to give you like emotional comfort, you know? I think there's going to be friendships in your life where you able to categorize them and you go to them for different needs. Let's say you have a going out friend. You go out, you drink, you guys have fun, and then you have that very emotionally supportive friend who grounds you when you're overthinking and who shows up for you emotionally. You guys are able to be emotionally vulnerable with each other with no judgment. And then you have like a solution-based friend. It's like, I have this problem right now, what should I do? And then they say, you should do A, B, and C. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? You can't expect one person to be everything for you. And if you do have someone like that in your life, I do think it's very rare. Your compatibility level is probably 10,000, but I don't think the person you're like 10,000% compatible with is going to be every person that you meet. I've yapped for 16 minutes and I believe the chocolate is ready, so let's bring it out now. Oh!
This is what happens when you're 26!
Take your vitamin, stretch, get up from your chair. This is your reminder right now. Ta-da! Wait! Oh! It's not the number 9, it's the letter E. Yo.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
This is top 3 embarrassing moments. And then there's one number 9. What's the point of that? Oh! I figured out what the letters say. I love you. I love you. I love you. Gosh. Cheers. It tastes so bad. And the last topic that I have been exploring is the importance of hobbies. And I'm not talking about, oh, I like to sleep, but doing something that stimulates your brain. The one friend that I have talked about, she got me back into reading. The one who has recommended me so many books. She gave me so many books too. Let me show you guys. These are the books that I finished this past week. She gifted me an entire series. I think having a hobby is such a healthy way to de-stress. And as I said, as someone who likes feeling intensity with people, I've come to realize that it is so much healthier to feel intensity and get lost in your hobbies. Let me rephrase that. I'm able to get lost in my hobbies and I find that healthier than getting lost in another person. There we go. So through reading, I'm able to release the need for intensity by looking up more books that I want to read or trying to figure out what genres work for me. And so far, it has been such a delightful hobby. It has been such a fun, stimulating hobby for me. And I found that I need to be mentally stimulated in order to feel contentment. Before reading, I had a huge phase with crocheting, but I found that with crocheting, I can sort of mindlessly do it. It's not really stimulating my mind, but when I'm reading books, I'm like flipping the page, like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? Why did she say that? Why did he do that? Are they gonna get back together? Is a unicorn gonna come out of the bush? I don't know what's going to happen. And that's what stimulates me and that's what intrigues me and that's what keeps me in. But I do want to be honest, it was a little hard getting into reading because being able to just sit still and focus on one thing. I feel like in this day and age where short form is very popular and everything is going by so quickly and everything is at the tip of your finger, being able to just sit in silence and focus on one thing is a muscle that you have to work up. For the people who are trying to get into reading, one thing that I recommend, that my friend recommended to me when I first started reading, was starting with shorter, easier reads. And then at one point, reading feels a little less intimidating. With anything, just give everything a chance. And when I say by chance, I don't mean like just once or twice. Actually invest a couple days into trying a new hobby. And then as you try and try, you might come to really love it. I think for the sake of the video, I just have to eat everything. Just to wrap up this video on a high note, I guess being an it girl, it boy is actually a good thing as long as you are being authentically yourself and you're not really doing it for other people but yourself. But also, it's not about not giving a about anything or anyone. Being so authentically yourself, but having compassion for everyone else around you. And please do not get me wrong, there are days where I'm like you, you're ugly, you're stinky, you're busting, like how would I want to be near you, like how would I... But we're all growing, and as much as you give others compassion, always remember to be the most compassionate, loving, kind person to yourself. Thank you for waiting for this video and thank you for watching this video and sticking to the end. The fact that you guys made it here, I feel like that means you guys resonated with some parts of it and I'm just so thankful that you chose to spend time with me. And I'm feeling awkward now, so I'm gonna go now. Bye everybody, forehead kiss.